Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, and hi if you're new here, I'm Jade, and yeah, I have another book haul for you. I keep saying I shouldn't keep buying books, and that's very true. I have a very overfull TBR. However, I'm going to say this video started because Book Outlet had another $5.99 fiction sale, and I'm a sucker for a sale, okay? Like, it's just the truth. So earlier, this box arrived. I did do a whole unboxing on camera and then realised I hadn't put my microphone on. I do also have a few other books to add into this haul. It's not just my Book Outlet buys, but I figured I would start with them because they are kind of what encourages me to buy books most of the time. The other books that are new are usually for a reason, like book clubs, whatever. So that's kind of why they end up here. The Book Outlet buys are kind of buys that I probably shouldn't have bought, i.e. books that I really didn't need, but I was kind of well behaved when I ordered from Book Outlet. Firstly, I only ordered 6 books, which was like the minimum for free shipping. And secondly, the majority of the books are books that I definitely would have bought sometime in the near future anyway, and I figured that getting them on a sale price in the long run would be a saving. So in no particular order, I'm going to grab the Book Outlet books first. But yeah, the first book that we'll start off with is this one, which is The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman. So if you've followed my channel for a while, you might know that I recently read Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman, and this book is in the same series, although this is book 4. Sadly, they didn't have books 2 and 3, so I still need to get hold of those. But I read book 1, which was Magic Lessons, which I also managed to get from Book Outlet before, which I really enjoyed. So I knew I wanted to carry on with the series. And because they have book 4, I was like, you know what, I'll just preemptively buy it because I don't find books at $5.99 anywhere else. And aside from the little discontinued line, this book's in pristine condition, so it's totally worth the money. So for those of you, in case you're unaware, this series is based around Practical Magic, which is quite a well-known movie from the late 90s. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, and we actually get a sequel this year, which I am so excited about. So like I said, this is book 4, so I don't want to like spoil anything, but essentially the movie Practical Magic follows 2 sisters that are witches who get brought up by their aunts, and essentially they have a curse on the family because basically if they fall in love, the man who they fall in love with will usually die. And then the first book in this series was exploring why the curse ever became a thing. So it follows their ancestor Maria, and then obviously the books will go on from there. As I said, this is book 4, so I think this follows the children from the Practical Magic movie if you've seen it. But if you like witchy things, especially things that maybe start with that sort of historical fiction vibe, because the first book most certainly has that, I think you could really enjoy it. It's kind of, you know, historical fiction, magical realism, I guess. So yeah, for me, this is a practical buy because I would have bought this anyway. And these books are really expensive to get hold of. Like everywhere I find them, they're a good sort of like $20 at least for most of these paperbacks. So $5.99, great. And then the next book is Until the World Falls Down by Jordan Lind. This is a book that I would have purchased at some point. I've been wanting it for a while. I don't know why I haven't bought it already, to be honest. And I got this really beautiful sprayed edge edition show up, which is great because I didn't know that it had it actually when I ordered it. Now, if you're a fan of the Labyrinth movie and part of that kind of cult like I am, I'm a huge Labyrinth fan and David Bowie fan. You may feel like this title feels a little familiar because it's called Until the World Falls Down. The huge famous song from the Labyrinth movie by David Bowie is As the World Falls Down, but I mean, clear influence. I mean, as soon as I saw this title, I just knew, which is why I sort of wanted to look into this book. I must say, I never did look into it that deeply. I just remember seeing the name around and thinking I've got to get it, just assuming that it was a Labyrinth fanfiction. Reading the blurb, that sounds exactly like what it is. It actually says Labyrinth meets Beauty and the Beast, so, you know. But it does sound like a more adult version of the Labyrinth, but this time the girl is wishing for love and then she gets 48 hours to solve a labyrinth and starts falling for the guy that runs the labyrinth. So yeah, definitely feels very much like a Labyrinth fanfiction. But as I love the Labyrinth, I have to give this a go. We'll see if it holds up to my expectations or not, but it wouldn't be right not to read this. I'll show you my books 3 and 4 from Book Outlet at the same time because they're from the same series. They're from the Finlay Donovan series and they're books 4 and 5. So far, I've read books 1 and 2 in the series, and I already own number 3. And I just thought, you know what, at some point I'm bound to get these. My book club, a lot of them have read on with the series because that's when I started the Finlay Donovan series, was in one of my in-person book clubs. And they've all loved carrying on with it, so I know I want to at some point. So I thought, why not just grab them while I can get them at a really good price? This one has the discontinued mark, but other than that, they are literally perfect condition again. I really, really love Book Outlet, I've got to say. I have mentioned the Finley Donovan series quite a few times on my channel, but in case you missed it, the series starts out with a woman who is struggling with money. She's a single mother and she gets mistaken for a contract killer, and then she ends up in this kind of like mob world. It's a little bit silly and humorous, but it just creates for a really good story. So yeah, I know I want to continue the series. Then next we have Metal Slinger. I'll be honest, this is one of those books where I've kind of been intrigued by it, but not been like desperate to get hold of it. But I needed a certain amount of books for free shipping, and lots of people in my book club said I should definitely read this. So I picked it up. It's clearly a Target edition that got, removed and that Book Outlet have got hold of. But other than the sticker on the front, it's actually great condition. To be honest, I don't actually really know anything about Metal Slinger other than I've seen its name everywhere. But I kind of like it that way. I think I want to kind of go in blind when I read this, so I'm not really going to look into this too much. But if you've read it and you think I'm going to like it, let me know in the comments. And then the final book from Book Outlet is The Love Haters by Catherine Center. This is another book that I don't know a lot about, but I have seen Catherine Center's name everywhere. I haven't read a Catherine Center book, and I've seen this one mentioned a few times, and I just think, I should give one a go. It also was just a bit different vibe from everything else I bought. I thought this will make a great summer read to add to my TBR, so that's kind of why I grabbed it. And it also has sprayed edges, even though they're just like plain ones, but there are no marks on this one, like literally pristine. Love it. So they are all my Book Outlet buys. So let me know what you think of any of those books if you've read them, and I'll show you what else has been added to my TBR. There are a couple of books that I haven't included in this video, which I have bought around the same time, but I've already read them. And they're going to be in my wrap up, which is going to be posted before this, so I don't see the point in showing them here. So the first other book added to my collection is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Someone gifted me this off my wish list very kindly, so that is why this one has joined my TBR. I do have a couple of other Emily Henry books on my TBR, but I've heard really good things about Funny Stories, so I'm really looking forward to diving into this one. I've seen a few people say this is their favourite Emily Henry. So far for me, it's Book Lovers, but I think I've only read, 3 Emily Henrys so far, so I've still got a few to go. So we will see what I think of this one at some point. Of course, in true Emily Henry style, I gather this is a kind of like rom-com vibe novel, and I think it's about someone who falls in love with their ex's new fiance's ex. Does that make sense? That's confusing, isn't it? But yeah, I think that's what it's about. Then next we have Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. If you saw my most anticipated reads video, this was included. And actually one of my in-person book clubs has chosen this as our March read. So I knew I was going to be getting hold of it. And actually when I went on my trip back to the UK, I found the signed edition in a store. So I just grabbed it because books are better value in the UK anyway. Even if I'm buying them more like full price signed, it's still going to be cheaper than buying it in the US. I know this is about a teacher student relationship. I know it has quite a few taboo topics, so I'm very intrigued to see how it deals with it, because I feel like I can really enjoy those stories as long as it's handled sensitively. I did mention this, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but in my anticipated reads video, I said that for me, because it is something that happens in real life, it happened actually when I was at school, that one of my teachers started dating one of the pupils. Obviously a bit scandalous, he obviously lost his job. But because, it is something that happens in real life, I don't think you should vie away from writing about these topics. So it will all depend on how it's handled, I think, whether I'm going to like this. So yeah, obviously pick that up for my TBR because I knew I'd be getting it very, very soon. So why not pick up the signed edition when I saw it? And the next one is the Elsewhere Express, another one from my anticipated reads video. So another new release that I really wanted to get hold of and read, and it's just this beautiful sprayed edge edition. It's such a stunning book. I read Watermoon by the same author last year, and I really enjoyed that. It's just like a cute, whimsical read, and I just thought I wanted to pick this up because I thought I might feel like reading this like super soon. And because I'm a sucker for a pretty book, I grabbed another really, really beautiful book here, which is also another one from my anticipated reads list, which is Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. And I just thought why not? These are books that, I was excited to get hold of at some point this year. So I haven't bought like everything as it's come out on my anticipated list, but I'm buying a few, I'm not gonna lie. But I believe this is a historical fiction fantasy about a girl that sort of needs to save herself from the Pope or something from years ago. I did explain it more in my anticipated reads video, but honestly I've kind of like forgotten like the in-depth details of the plot. But I just know it sounded like something that was completely my thing. I love a good mix of historical fiction and fantasy. So I thought this was worth me picking up because I feel like I will really like this. And I've also had my eye on Isabel Ibanez's other books that are quite well known. So they are all the books that I have added to my TBR sometime recently, unless they are ones that are already going to have been on my January wrap up that I added in. January wrap up? February wrap up. My January wrap up was up at the end of January. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, if you would recommend any of them, if there's any that you actually didn't like, and I will see you again real soon. Bye!